Welcome back. Today on Dialed In DIY, we're going to show you a great way to keep some money in your pocket instead of giving it to the pro squad down the street when your computer dies and you need your data back. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 parts that I pursue when I am recovering old data, and I've done this several times now, and it works quite well. There are many different reasons why a device can fail but leave your data intact. I decided to make this video when I came across a second exciting discovery about my approach that was really helpful in my most recent data recovery attempt. The computer you see here was dying, and I couldn't remember the password that I had set for the owner properties within the system, and unfortunately it completely died before I could do anything about it. So I tried my old standby approach to recover the data. Get yourself set up in a good, safe working environment where you have a good, stable surface to put your computer on. Make sure you ground yourself just in case you want to do anything with the extra components inside. You don't want to damage any of them further than they might already happen to be. Once you have the case safely removed from the computer, be careful about what you touch. Go ahead and touch the side of the computer to release any static that you might have built up, but be careful about any of the components that you touch so that you don't get shocked. Then, locate the hard drive. Carefully remove the power and data cables before you start to take your drive out of the computer case itself. It is worth noting at this point that I did try the basic repair steps before I took this apart and it didn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and save the rest of this computer for a salvage video in the future and move on to what you need to continue this particular process. The first time I needed to get data recovered, the pros tried to quote me over $200 just to try to get to my data. But I found this great drive adapter on Amazon for just 23 bucks. It came with all the connectors that I needed, so all I had to do was pick the ones that looked just like those that were inside the original computer, and then I could plug it directly into a USB in my new computer. While I have tried this on several different drives with great success, I do want to point out that every drive I tried it on was one that I was willing to take the risk with. I recommend that you do the same and seek professional help if you're concerned that you might cause any damage to data that you won't be able to recover in any way after the fact. If you're feeling particularly skillful and you have an extra serial ATA slot on your motherboard, you can actually go ahead and plug it directly into your motherboard instead of using an adapter. However, you may end up having to do a little extra work with the BIOS settings to get it to work right, so I like this adapter approach because it makes it much easier to keep switching it back and forth and use it on multiple computers if I want to. Once the correct cables are connected, all you have to do is plug a USB connector into the computer, plug in your power, and flip on the on-off switch. While you're watching me make these connections, I'd like to take an opportunity to point out that I do first run a complete security scan on the drive before I try to access any of the files within the drive itself. I was recently reading an article from PC forums from earlier in this year, and they were talking about if you had to send your hard drive out to a data recovery service, they may charge hundreds or even thousands of dollars just in an attempt to try to recover your data. So I feel really good about this little solution that I've been using. Another thing I love about this adapter is it's plug and play, so as you'll notice, once it's plugged in and the power's on, we just have to wait for the drive to show up in our computer screen. And there it is. At this point, you can typically just start drilling down into the files after you've run a security scan, but you'll recall I had another problem. All of my documents that were under the owner section were locked out to me. So this is how I went through getting back into them. Once I tried to click on one of the locked folders, all I had to do was follow the prompts, and the only really kind of a tricky part was this part right here where you have to click on the link and make sure you don't just click close on that window. Everything else, you can follow the prompts, which I'll detail in the subtitles below. Hey, if you want some more information about this particular adapter, as well as some additional thoughts on precautions, please check out the description below. The folder I clicked on here was full of sheet music for guitar, and I don't think I'll need that anytime soon, but it's good to know that I have access to this as well as all the other folders on this drive again. This adapter comes with a lot of potential uses, including the 2.5-inch and 3.5 drives that I'd mentioned, but a whole host of other CD and DVD based drives as well, plus your iOmega zip. Drives do tend to wear out eventually, but I do follow this prevention list on the right just to see if I can make them last as long as possible. Thank you for watching. Please press like and then subscribe. There will be more Dialed In DIY to come.